right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and this week we have on a very special guest. It won't just be me chatting at you on the camera. We're actually going to have some insight from another fellow woman out here in the world doing her best to become her best. So she has a lot to say in the form of fitness, in the form of mindset, movement, and she has a lot to share with you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening today. So without further ado, Danielle Carrick. How are we today, Danielle?
Hey, Sean, I'm well. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here, really excited to share a little bit about my background and my story and the things I'm passionate about.
Yeah, of course. And I think first I want to kind of let the people know how we met because it kind of coincides with the theme of pursuing your full potential and just kind of what we're on a mission here today to do. So Danielle and I are both a part of a group called the Operator Standard, which was started by Andy Frisella, the founder of First Form Supplements. And there is a community and app in which, how would you best describe the OS? I'll let you kind of like explain what it is.
Yeah, that's funny. So I explain it like an international networking group, but it's so much more than that. So there are people nationwide in the United States that are a part of it, but there are people internationally from truly all over. I've seen people on there from Canada, from Germany, from like Australia, everywhere. So I would say it's mostly entrepreneurs and small business owners or larger scale business owners, but mostly entrepreneurs who are really just like doing the work, boots on the ground, walking the walk, talking the talk, and setting the standard for society and culture in doing so through their employees or their networks individually. So yeah, it's kind of like a broad scale networking group, self-accountability app, mindset, like accountability partner. Like it's so much rolled into one. It's phenomenal. I love it. It's like projected me like way ahead of where I even want it to be right now. So I'm grateful for it and the connections I've made through it.
Yeah, I would agree. It is hard to kind of sum it all up into one. And I will tell you that what's refreshing to me is that it's a social group that isn't social media. You know, sometimes we get caught up in going on social media and seeing a bunch of junk on there, but this is refreshing because everyone in there is like-minded. They are, forward focusing and just trying to better themselves and the people they come into contact with. So without this being a pitch for the group we're a part of, that's how we met, guys. So we met through the app, even though you were in St. Louis for their launching party, because it is now available for the public. So, yeah, we met and online we connected and just decided to have a conversation. And I feel like her message needs to get out to the world. So, Danielle, I know you own a fitness studio, a Pure Barre. But before we jump into that, what got you into the world of personal development, of fitness, of all that you do right now?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's kind of a loaded and long answer. I was a competitive gymnast my entire life, and then I was a cheerleader for like my entire middle school and high school career. And I've always been super disciplined, super driven, athletic, outgoing, all the things. But one of the things I've always kind of been drawn to is just being a better person. Always kind of a lover of learning and wanting to be better, show up better. I very much feel like my character and my integrity are the most important things to me. So I always make sure that if I'm saying I'm going to do something, I follow through. If I, say you're a friend, I treat you like a friend, and you're not going to get fake or phony. You're going to get real. You're going to get authentic. You're going to get genuine. So I've always kind of found myself putting myself in positions or saying yes to opportunities that challenged me mentally, physically, emotionally, whether it was in the health and wellness space or in my education, to do the most, to be better, and again, challenge myself to be a better person. So I've always just really loved to push for personal development. I'm someone that self-reflects and journals, not often as I should at this time in my life, but in the past was always into journaling and really just recapping what I was writing down and what I was feeling and how it was helping me and how it's shaped me into the person I am today.
Wow. Wow, yeah, thank you for sharing that. I mean, from what I heard, it seems like you've been pretty competitive like your whole life, right? With gymnastics going into cheerleading, but then you touched on the point of self-reflection and like pursuing more out of yourself. When do you think that occurred, or when did you realize it was more than just I want to be good at this sport? When was it more of like, oh man, like I can become better myself?
That's a really great question. I don't know that I've ever really stopped to like think about at what point that happened. I think, of course, we owe a lot to our coaches, our athletic coaches, as we're growing up. I am a former cheerleading coach of like 12 years. I just recently stopped that, but I think at some point that competitive mindset kind of pushes you to want to be better for your coaches and the people that are trying to guide and lead you. So I'm not sure, again, there was ever a point where I really stopped and said, like, this is the moment where I need to be self-reflective. I think I just had that innate awareness to see what other people were doing around me, especially in the cheerleading world. When you are part of a team and you know you need to be your best and you need to step it up for the people around you so that they can rely on you. So I don't think there was a defining moment for that. I think it just kind of is who I am or who I've always been. But I would say having the coaches that I've had throughout my life, I've been really fortunate with incredible coaches, both in gymnastics and cheerleading. And I think knowing them, knowing their authenticity, knowing their drive, I just saw that, and it was like no question about it. I was going to hop on board and be better for them so that they would be proud of me.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of like they were your mentors in a sense, and in that environment, you saw that as a good example and something that you wanted to step into. But I mean, you said you just stopped coaching after 12 years, plus you had a lifetime of doing it. What was your vision when you were younger were for cheerleading? Did you see that going somewhere?
So my cheer story is really funny, and I think it does relate to how and why I own my fitness studio today. I wanted to cheer in college, had all the dreams to like do the things and be a college athlete. And senior year, I got my third concussion within a 2-year span. So it was like sophomore year, October, junior year, November, and then senior year, October. And the third one really took me out. To this day, I don't remember anything. I had retrograde amnesia. And so at that time, all these years ago, my mom, who was in healthcare, concussions, impact testing, all of this was really, really prevalent at that time. And my mom's like, one look at me, she's like, yeah, you're done. Like, you're not going back. You're not cheering. You're not doing, you're not doing it in college. None of it. So it wasn't even a discussion. So I was like, I guess that's it. So senior year, things kind of like came to an abrupt halt for me in terms of being an athlete and being a cheerleader. And our high school was super competitive. So I kind of just like went through the motions, went to college. And my mom actually during undergrad was like, hey, there's this position posted for a school for a cheer coach. Like, maybe you should look into it. And that set me on a path for 12 years of coaching.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Now, for those listening, this is the second conversation that Danielle and I have had, so I did not set this up at all, and it is probably the universe that brought us together. Can I tell you the reason why I do what I do was because I got 3 concussions playing sports in high school?
Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
I was a 3-sport athlete going to play lacrosse in college. That was my absolute dream, was to
Gosh.
play college lacrosse, and by my senior year of high school, I had got my 3rd concussion. And in preseason practice for lacrosse in college, I got hit again and felt the effects of it pretty bad and kind
No.
of sat with myself and said, you know what? I don't think this long term is going to be worth what I could potentially go through.
Right.
So I stopped playing sports and then turned to like fitness for my outlet. But that is incredible and how parallel our stories are.
Wow, seriously, that's like almost a little scary. I say I had 3 concussions and people are like, oh my gosh. And we're a little older, right? And concussions happen all the time, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I don't feel like I meet anyone around my age that's like, oh yeah, I had 3. Some have had 1, but 3,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
we're special.
basically very similar stories. So I appreciate you sharing that. But so now that we're post cheerleading, coaching, and all that, where did your life take you after that?
Sure, yeah. So while I was in undergrad and while I started coaching, I had stumbled upon this boutique fitness brand called Pure Barre. Did not know even like what it was, didn't really even know how to pronounce it until I walked into the studio for an interview. And at this time, I was born and raised in New York, and I was doing undergrad in New York, and I wanted a part-time job in addition to coaching and in addition to taking classes. I walked in and they were hiring what they called a bartender back then, so essentially a front desk sales associate. So I walked in for the interview and instantly fell in love with everything about the fitness format and modality, the brand. I took one class and I was like, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And it has been the constant in my life since then. So that was during undergrad. I'm now in my 30s. And it has been a constant through 2 cross-country moves. It has been the constant through my highs, my lows, my good, bad, my ugly. It's been a sanctuary. It's been the best physical push for me. And then because I was so hard on my body as a gymnast and a cheerleader, the fact that it's low impact has just shown me that I can stay physically active. I can still see results. I can still lift the way I want to lift. And get stronger and protect my body as I age without having to like put additional wear and tear on it. So, from being an athlete, our bodies have kind of been through it. Right now, I was just at PT yesterday because I have a labrum tear in 2 places for my hip. So, I can't imagine how much worse that would be if I didn't have my studio. But yeah, Pure Barre has been the constant in my life for many, many years. And I held multiple different roles within the brand, within moving, working for different studios and owners. And then I had the opportunity a few years ago to become a franchise partner. And my now husband was like, let's do it. But in between that time, I actually worked inpatient psych. So my background is in mental health.
Wow. All over the place, huh?
Mm-hmm. All over the place, but like a little bit connected.
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. So, well, before we get into the psychiatric side of things, you said multiple times that Pure Barre has been your constant in life, and there's got to be something really strong about a constant when life changes, right? You said multiple moves, like life happens, right? And you don't always stick with the same career or whatever. What was it about Pure Barre that allowed it to be a constant through all those years?
It never gets easier, I think. So our classes have evolved, and our training and technique team at the corporate level has done a beautiful job at being innovative and kind of seeing the trends and the changes in fitness and offering different formats that people need, and they're science backed, so why they need them, which we can get into later if we want. But I think that it's never gotten easier. It's always been challenging in the best way. I've always seen results. I will say something I love about when I'm taking Pure Barre, because I do teach all of our classes and formats. When I take Pure Barre, I've always said what it does for me here is even better than what it does for me physically. I think the mind-body connection, the mental component, I say it's better than therapy. I say it's also cheaper than therapy. So I think that's why it's been constant. I think no matter what I'm going through in my day-to-day, in my life, in changing and moving to a new city, it's offered social groups. I've met some of my best friends through Pure Barre. I've met some incredible owners through Pure Barre. But what it's done for me mentally through all of life's changes and stages and phases and everything is what's always kept me going back, I'd say.
That's incredible. I mean, we hear the term third place. Maybe have you heard of this, right? That's your
For sure.
like you have your work, you have your house, and then you have for you is Pure Barre, but I'm sure back in the day maybe it was a bar for people or the library, but when you have your third place be somewhere that does so much for you mentally and physically, it makes sense as to why you continue to do it even through the ups and downs of life throwing things at you. So that's pretty incredible that you were able to use that to your advantage, but now stepping into it as an owner. And before we get into that, I do want to touch on the psychiatric parts of things. Like how did you get into that?
Yeah, so I did go to school, my undergrad and then even my master's. My background is in psychology. So I was a group therapist for what we would call experiential therapy. So think about your music, your movement, your art type therapies. And during undergrad, you had to do an internship. My internship was actually in physical rehab. So I was working with a lot of stroke patients and recovering from strokes. But when I, after undergrad, picked up and moved to Colorado, I had multiple opportunities to work inpatient psych. And the brain is just fascinating to me. I think that it's almost a little bit scary how your brain can almost take over, especially when it comes to pretty serious diagnoses, like psychosis, for example. So I had opportunities to work inpatient psych. I worked in an acute stabilization hospital. So that means, someone might be having an episode or an experience. They go to the emergency room and then they're admitted to a psych hospital to stabilize and then seek treatment that's appropriate. Now, the hospital I worked at had multiple units. It had an adolescent unit, it had a few adult units, it had a substance detox unit. And I did group therapy there, and it was a lot of fun. I met a lot of great people. It challenged me in some of the best ways in terms of getting creative and helping people at some of their most vulnerable states. Psych is and mental health is so prevalent and so important. And we say mental health, and sometimes we think of it with a negative connotation, right? Like, oh, someone's mental health, they need help. But mental health is something we can paint in a positive picture too, right? You and I should be taking care of our mental health, right? We should be doing things for self-care that are challenging us, that are releasing those endorphins and those hormones that make us feel good. We should be moving our body because it releases those endorphins. So mental health is something you have to maintain on a regular basis. But yeah, I worked inpatient psych for the 5 years that I lived in Colorado. When I moved to Florida, I did take a step away from it, really because during that time was COVID times. I was very fortunate to have a place to go and leave my house and a career that I could, again, leave my house and still go help people and leave an impact on their lives. But it came to a point where I emotionally was like struggling. We had an adolescent unit is 13 to 17, and we were admitting children, 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds for suicidal ideation or suicide attempt. And I started to not be able to disconnect emotionally and leave work at work. And when you're working in that environment, it almost feels a little bit inhumane, right? Like how do you leave that there and not take it home, or how are you not emotionally impacted from that? So it got to the point where I was like, I need to separate myself, because I can't continue to show up and be the best therapist I can when I feel like I'm struggling with some of the patients I'm seeing, and some of the trauma that they are going through or have been through. So I uprooted my life in Colorado and moved to Florida, and I ended up working at a nonprofit. And that nonprofit is incredible. I'm still very close with both of my bosses from that nonprofit. And actually, my boss there is part of the reason why I did 75 Hard, part of the continuation of my professional development, personal development journey. She's kind of that like missing mentor from high school cheerleading that alongside me was just like pushing me into gear and was like, let's do this, let's do it together. So kind of a long-winded answer to mental health and that background and how I got into it and really what I did during that time. But that kind of got me from where I was to where I am now.
Well, I think you gave a good explanation to someone maybe who doesn't understand that realm. And I've never been a part of something like group therapy before, but just to hear you talk about it, I will reiterate the fact that I give kudos to all of the health professionals who can do those things, because I surely couldn't, right? The position that you were in to speak with even 8-year-olds who had suicidal ideations is, I don't know how you could turn that off and just go home and live a normal life. I feel like you have to have a special type of wiring in your brain almost. But so I give you immense props for even being able to do that for the time period that you did.
Yeah, thanks. And I truly loved it. And I do love psych. I just get to use my experience in different ways now and impact people in different ways through fitness and movement. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like, I don't know, maybe a stroke of luck that when you landed the job at the nonprofit, like you said, this one of the bosses were into personal development, and they introduced you to 75 Hard and kind of like re-sparked that fire to, I don't know, pursue more, stay competitive with yourself, and keep doing the hard things. Does that sound right?
Yeah, yeah. So she, that boss, her name's Nancy. She's actually also in the OS, and she was
Nice.
also in, yeah, she was also at the public launch in St. Louis. So, yeah, she's great. Her version of the story is kind of funny. Here I am, like the new girl working there all of 2 weeks. She challenges all of her staff to a personal development something journey, right? For the next 30 days, pick something, stick with it, do it, and then let's reflect on it. And here I am, like she said 30 days, but how about 75? And so I asked her if she ever heard of 75 Hard and Andy, and she had not. And she kind of was like, this new girl put me up for this challenge, so I'm not going to say no. And so her, me, and two others in our office ended up doing 75 Hard together. And it was incredible. It was life changing. It was exactly what I needed. This is like right after I moved to Florida. It was exactly what I needed to kind of reset mentally, coming off of, like I just shared with you, that experience of having to emotionally disconnect because of what I had experienced in inpatient psych.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I've done it a few times. I'm sure that being more on a routine and having your mind in the right place really helped you with that transition. I'm assuming. What did Nancy and the other people who did it with you? What was their experience after thinking, all right, Nancy wants us to do 30 days. Maybe I'll, go for a walk each day or cut out chocolate. Like, what was their experience after doing 75 hard?
Yeah, so again, we were surrounded by just all mentally tough people. So Nancy, as the boss who did most of the hiring, hired a specific type of person in the office. So we were all pretty ambitious, go getters, disciplined. But I would say all four of us had such a positive experience, and found ourselves having a lot of conversations around things like we talk about in the standard in the OS. Just not wanting to hear people's excuses, not having time or energy for people that don't try or don't push themselves, people that are lazy. We kind of were just like, wow, this is eye-opening to all of the people and all of their excuses. And we all kind of felt the same. We all had a really positive experience. We finished day 75 together with an outdoor walk downtown West Palm, and kind of like took our time to enjoy it and soak it in and talk about what we experienced over the 75 days, how we can commit to maintaining this mental toughness and these power lists or these tasks, and how to not fall kind of back into maybe old habits or old routines. I'm not someone that really has ever had bad habits or bad routines. Again, I'm really, really disciplined. My planner is color coded. If I give myself an hour to do something, that hour is I do it, I get it done, I move on. But yeah, we all had a really positive experience. Nancy, after the fact, again, joined the OS. What became a little bit more involved in first form. Danielle, I know Nancy's done it again. I'm not sure if the other Danielle has ever done it again. And then I think for Holly, it was a really great push forward into kind of her journey in health and wellness. So it definitely set all four of us up for what the future was for us.
Love that. I mean, I'm not saying that this doesn't happen other places, but it sounded really beneficial to have like-minded people wanting to do 75 hard with you, because I've talked to other folks who they want to bring people up and maybe they're not at the same level mentally. And so if you're trying to drag someone through a mental toughness program, that's got to be kind of tough. And not that it can't be done, but when you're all working cohesively towards that goal and like keeping each other accountable, that's got to amplify the experience for sure.
For sure. And you could feel it kind of radiating through the office. I mean, we did have people that were like, 75 hard isn't for me, but I'll do 75 soft. And so then we created a flyer or a poster board for them with their names of like, okay, what are you doing? And it was accountability. We're like, all right, here's the checkbox. You need to mark it for these 75 days. And while we we might say, people, we meaning you and I, that 75 soft isn't real or isn't the same for where those people were at in their journey and their mental toughness. I'd say it's what they needed as well, and they had some reflection. Whether they followed through with it or not, it still gave everybody an opportunity to reflect and become insightful about where they're at and where they want to go and how they can get there.
I 100% agree. And I've had that conversation with myself before, saying, oh, well, if you're not doing it the proper way, it's not as effective. And that may be true, but I look at it this way. Maybe the people that look at 75 hard as extreme, they would either not do it at all or do it and fail, whereas the 75 hard or soft version allows them to see, like, maybe I can do this, and then eventually become the little bit more disciplined and structured in their approach and do the legit 75 hard. So I think it's a good gateway. Instead of saying this just isn't for you, go be, miserable or below average,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, it was right for where they were at in their journey and allow them to reflect on where they have to go.
Yeah. So how did being a part of the nonprofit, like I know you said the constant was Pure Barre. How did you go from, all right, I'm working here, to say, I think I want to take the leap and own a Pure Barre location?
Yeah, great question. So a lot happened at once. After I moved here, I met my now husband. Neither of us had any intentions of like meeting anyone, dating. Didn't know it would end in marriage, and here we are 2 years later. We're celebrating 2 years of marriage in October. So I met him, and he was a business owner, and he was kind of still startup stages of his business because he had moved to Florida. He is a veteran, so he had gotten out of the military and moved to Florida and started his business. So I saw what he was doing day in and day out. And I was seeing the highs and the lows. so I'm not sure if that makes me equally as crazy or what, right? Because being an entrepreneur and being a business owner is not all sunshine and rainbows. Your highs are highs, your lows are lows. There's a lot that people don't see that go into our day-to-day. We truly work 24/7. Yes, I can take a break in the middle of the day at 2 p.m. to record this podcast, right? but we work 24/7. So I saw what he was doing, and I saw him just like living the best version of his life, regardless of the positives and the negatives. And in that, I started to kind of like research one night and fell down a rabbit hole and saw that there was a possibility that a Pure Barre studio or a fitness studio was for sale locally. Come to find out, it was a Pure Barre studio. Now, this was the third time that I looked into franchising over the past X amount of years. So I kind of like filled out a form and brought it to his attention. And at this point, we were serious enough that I was like, I think this is something I might want to do. And he was like, let's look into it. Like, let's do it. Why not? It doesn't hurt to have a conversation. So we had to go through, there's a process when it comes to franchising. You have to make sure you qualify. You have to have X amount of meetings with all different people from the corporate level to ensure that you are capable of representing the brand. And not only that, but being successful as a franchise partner. So we kind of like got down into this experience and this road. And it kind of just happened. It kind of just like things fell into place. If you believe everything happens for a reason, we started this experience or looking into things, not engaged, not married. And then through that, got engaged. And then he is my business partner in Pure Barre, while he's not involved in the day-to-day, and it's truly my baby. He was involved, my business partner, so we look into franchising. We get engaged. We take over 2 studios at the time that we started because we recently just merged the 2. Took over 2 studios, and then like 5 months later, we got married. So maybe 6 months, I don't even know. So that year for us was totally crazy. But yeah, in short, I saw my husband doing the business owner things, and I said, that's what I want to do. And there's a lot of other people out in this world that have zero common sense or zero discipline, and they're doing it. So if they can do it, why can't I?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, again, it seems like you've had really good people in your corner, right? Like someone who's willing to you guys weren't even married yet. You're dating and say, you know what? I believe in your dream. I'm gonna go in with it for you, and like we're gonna tackle this thing head on. And then in the midst of that, I'm sure it was a lot
Hmm.
to get two studios, merge them into one, get engaged, get married. So like a lot has happened for you in the last couple years.
For sure. Yeah, we I think anybody who knows us and knows our stories personally and then our stories together, I think would say, one, we're a little bit crazy, but you have to be to take
100%.
risks.
Yep.
But I think, you said it yourself, right? To have someone, a partner that supports your dreams and is like, let's do this and I believe in you. My husband's name is Chance. With Chance, there's no dream that's too big for either of us. We make it work. We figure out a way to do it. We make it happen. We're the movers, the shakers, and he's just as competitive as I am, if not even more competitive. So when you've got two really competitive, ambitious people that are willing to work for it and go after it, you're going to see high achievement, and we're certainly going to chase those dreams and reach those goals.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think, the fact that you're in that scenario is a good sign because you've heard this before where people say like, don't go into business with your family or your spouse. I think it I think it depends who your spouse is, right?
For
Like
sure.
if you're in a relationship where you're an entrepreneur, you're a go-getter, you're a mover and shaker, and your spouse is like, I think that's scary. Like, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, that's not a good idea to go into business. But if you're both like, hey, we're gonna make it work, right? And we're on the same team here, then I think that's only like rocket fuel for your growth.
Yeah, and we've heard Andy say it before, haven't we? Right? Like when you have no other options other than succeeding, that's your option. So figure it out.
That's your
So failure, yeah, failure is not an option for us. Um, yeah, yeah, like you said it. It's when your partner is also a driving force to you getting ahead, and there's no. I think that's scary, or that yes, it could be scary to go into business with a spouse, a partner, with family, but it's also kind of eliminated a level of, I guess, vulnerability, if you will. Like we have to have hard conversations, we have to have business conversations, and I think it's only made us stronger in our marriage and our relationship. He's my confidant, he's my sounding board. I run things by him. He's seen me at my best, my worst, and again, we make all of these decisions together. We communicate so incredibly strong and clearly. So yeah, it works for us. But again, I think it takes a certain type of person or partnership, like you said, to have two.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like, you said he has his business, you have your business. Like this is more your business, even though he's a partner in it all. You kind of both have your different focuses and areas that you're looking to grow. So tell me about like right now you have one Pure Bar. What is your mission that you're on or your vision that you can see this bubbling into?
Yeah, so I can give you a little bit of a background and my studio and the culture and community that I've built. Pure Barre is a really special and sacred place. The idea with us being a national brand is you can walk into my studio here in Florida, you can walk into a studio in Chicago, New York, LA, wherever, and you're going to be welcomed with open arms and you're going to get the same experience because our brand is strong and the community that we have all built within our individual studios is really strong and positive. So I took over the studios at a really rough time in their lifetime, and did the work with my team to build them and build the community to where we are today. So we've got a really great culture. We've got members that are just incredible people that I think would say that this is their third space. So something I've always felt in my heart, to my core, even as a young girl, was that I just want to impact the world. I want to impact people's lives. I want to change lives for the better, and I just want to leave my mark. And so I think that my mission within the studio is exactly that. Wherever you're at in your life, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how physically capable you are of working out, you can come into our studio and you can find a friend. You can find 50 minutes for you, for your mental health. You can find an incredible workout where you will see results. So within the studio, I think we've just cultivated that in terms of changing people's lives and giving people 50 minutes for them, a positive third space where they can come to, they can share their life with us. We can support them on their fitness journey. I just had a member come in the other day. I knew she was going on vacation. I was like, how's vacation? And she holds out her hand and like we're screaming in the studio that she's now engaged. I have another member who just got married last week and sent me a picture that somebody had taken of her, making a comment of how like ripped and muscular and toned she looks. So sharing those things are so special. And when year ago we had a member who had her third baby and she's like all of a day postpartum and she's texting me baby photos, and she's back in the studio bouncing back. So people share their lives, and when I get messages like that or phone calls or pictures or whatever it is, it makes me so happy that people want to include us in their celebrations. Now, we've also mourned things together in the studio, but again, even in that moment of someone's vulnerable emotional state, the fact that they choose themselves and they choose to come to us is something that like brings tears to my eyes and just makes me feel in my heart just so proud, and so grateful, because I can't do this alone, right? I know that my team has impacted these people, and that's why they keep coming back to us.
Yeah, that's extremely special. The fact that people think of you and the community and your team when the special occasions are happening. And number one, that shows that it is their third space. And it sounds like from your experience there with Pure Barre being your constant, you have been able to like give that same experience and energy to your members and create that as their constant in life. Like, hey, we just got engaged, but these are my people. Hey, I just had my third baby. I got to share it with my people. And that builds something that's stronger than just an exercise routine. You know, like I know
For
you
sure.
know that that's what you're building. Would you say that's like the special sauce? Like what's making you guys do so well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in the fitness industry, we are oversaturated right now. I mean, I could throw a pebble to any which direction standing out my studio's front door, and I've got like 10 different options. But I think what sets us apart, aside from the fact that our brand and our technique and what we're offering is so good, it's so good. And again, you have 5 formats, so you can kind of meet all of your goals when it comes to fitness under one roof with one membership versus having a yoga membership, a Pilates membership, a bar membership, a gym membership. So I think besides the fact that our technique and the product we offer through our classes is what sets us apart as just being really, really good. And the proof is there because as a brand, we just celebrated 25 years in June. I think that with the industry being so saturated, I think, and I say this to my team all the time, the things that set us apart are our customer service. The fact that I do genuinely view some of these people like they were family. There is a boundary because I am a business owner, but everybody comes through the door and again like shares their life with us. They sit on our studio benches and talk about what's going on. They share their wins, they share their celebrations, they share their life changes. They come to us when they get a new job. They come to us after they've just lost their job, or quit their job or whatever. So I'd say our special sauce, in addition to what we offer as a modality and a technique, is the customer service that we provide.
That's huge. I mean, we talked about this before, but in a world where everything's becoming automated, when you can put a little human touch into there, it can go a long way, right? So if you're communicating well, you're effective in remembering people's birthdays and just lending an ear when someone needs to talk, you can't put a price tag on that.
No, and
And
I could probably, like, not to cut you off, I could probably save a little bit of money if I automated some stuff, but I don't believe in that. I believe in when you text our studio, someone is answering you that is a human being.
yeah,
And again, I think it's what sets us apart. It really is.
well, I was just complaining the other week about the doctors, right? I have to schedule a surgery that I'm having,
I
And
know.
man, you call a number and you get nine different automated press this button, go to
Mm.
this department. And it's just
Speak
like,
to a representative.
yes, I just want to speak to a human. I promise you it'll take me 35 seconds and
Mhm.
then I'll be off the phone, you know? So
Yeah.
that's really important that you guys are doing that work. Now, you mentioned briefly five different modalities and that you guys kind of stand apart. What is it about Pure Barre that kind of like encapsulates it all?
Sure. So, back in the day, we were founded as just Pure Barre. So the only class we offered was called Pure Barre. That class has now evolved into what we call our classic class or our classic format. So it's a full body workout. You're working every major muscle group to fatigue and then following it with a stretch. So think working muscle groups to, again, that time under tension, small isometric moves, low impact. You're holding things, you're moving an inch to 2 inches. Your body is shaking because your muscles are fatiguing, and then you're kind of slowing it down, stretching before you move on. We're musically driven, so you're gonna feel strong beats. You're gonna hear loud music. So that's classic. It's 50 minutes. You're in, you're out, full body workout. Everything is rooted in classic and built off of that format with a different goal or focus in mind. So we have our align class, which is a little bit more rooted in yoga. Again, still full body workout, still low impact, but you're going to be moving through different poses and holding them a little bit longer to focus on your balance and your flexibility. We have our Empower class, which is an endurance based cardio type class. I use cardio lightly because, again, we're not jumping, we're not bouncing, but there are opportunities as you move through that class to kind of get your heart rate a little bit more elevated, get a little bit sweatier. So we incorporate wrist weights, ankle weights, and what we call a platform, which is just about a few inches off of the ground. It's faster moving. That class is 45 minutes, but the idea is bigger range of movement. You can kind of, again, think of it like cardio. We have our reform class, which she recently just relaunched. I call her a she. So 2018 to about 2023, she was a format on our schedules, and essentially reform mimics a Pilates reformer. So you have resistance bands, you have sliders, and again, you're finding that tension for your muscles. We did away with her because back in the day when we were like it's like a Pilates reformer, people were like, I don't know what that is. We're very much in a Pilates craze right now. People know what reformer is. We just bought her back this year. I mean, your body is the machine. Again, you're using resistance bands and sliders and kind of progressing through to find this tension, still working every major muscle group. And then Define was launched a few years ago. Define was kind of the missing piece to Pure Barre. It's a functional strength training class, so you'll see bigger weights, bigger ranges of movements, things like squats, lunges, bicep curls, chest presses, shoulder presses, etc. The idea of that class kind of breaks all the rules. You're not moving to the beat of the music. You still have strong beats and great music because it's still a big component of what we do. But the idea is that you can take that class a certain number of times over about a 2 week period. It's the only class that stays the same for about 2 weeks. Every other class changes daily. The idea is you can take Define a few different times over a 2 week period, and you're either getting more reps in or you're grabbing heavier weights to improve your muscle mass, which helps your bone density over time. I tell women if you're over the age of 30, you should be taking that class at least twice a week. But again, the idea and goal is that you can cross train with all five of those formats multiple days a week. You don't need to take a day off. That's how we were created, with the intention of being able to take every day because we're low impact, without the need for a rest day or a recovery day. So you can kind of recover like maybe with an aligned class instead of.
Right. No, that's huge because I don't believe necessarily in not moving your body. I feel like, yes, everyone's body adapts to exercise differently, but you can still move it in a way that is restorative. So, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, maybe you're a little sore from the lifting class and you go do something a little more slow paced, and that's going to help your muscles essentially. Because if you just sit on the couch, you're going to
Yeah.
just get sore and you're not going to benefit yourself anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool because in a world, I can't believe, I mean, this is a good problem to have where we have too many fitness studios.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think it's a good problem to have that people have access, but you run into the problem where it's like they just do this or they just do that. And you either have four gym memberships or you become a little, what I've seen people happen is you plateau or you get injured because you're doing too much of one thing and not getting that balance. So I really, I can appreciate the brand for incorporating a lot of what people need.
Yeah, and I'll say when it comes to the industry being saturated, like you said, it's great that we have all of these options, but I often encourage people to question the integrity of the thing that they're doing. I hate to say it's easy to open a business, but with so many people doing something and saying, I want to do this and I want to work for myself and do it, you really got to question the programming and the training. All of our instructors are very thoroughly trained. We are experienced and can and should offer modifications. So what I mean by that is if you come in and you're recovering from a shoulder injury, as your instructor, I should be able to say, you should move this way, this way, this way. Avoid doing this today in class. Here's what you should do instead to not only help you recover, but prevent overuse or prevent whatever injury you have from progressing and getting worse. Our teachers are trained to offer what we call hands-on modifications. So if your body is working without proper form or alignment, we're going to physically come touch you and put you into the right position, hold you there for a few reps so you can feel it. My job is not to take the class with you. My job is to teach and coach you through that class to get an effective and safe workout. So I do tell people and encourage them, wherever you're going, love that you're moving your body. If Pure Barre's for you, I of course love that. Come join us. If it's something else, great. Again, make sure that you're working your body in different ways so you can prevent injury or overuse injuries, but also question the integrity of the programming and what's happening and the training of the teachers to make sure that they have your best interest at heart and they are guiding you through something safely.
Yeah, I secondhand that because, and you hit it right on the nail with vetting the studio and the coaches who are there. Because unfortunately, if people don't know this, you could go to a Pilates class and say, ooh, I love Pilates, it's popular. Go get a weekend certification, become a Pilates instructor, get an LLC in about 35 minutes, and all of a sudden, now you have a Pilates studio, and because you made it aesthetic looking and cool, people want to come flocking to your studio. But if you're not doing the members a proper service by taking care of them, like you said, having that knowledge and that hands-on experience, then you're not doing that out of the proper integrity in my mind. Right. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, no, I'd say it similarly. I think you hit it. No shade to Pilates at all, but that is a great example because we're very much seeing that right now in the industry. There's a Pilates studio opening on every corner, and again, it's great that people have all of these options and all of these opportunities, but people are also flocking to the pretty looking studio, and the pretty looking studio is not necessarily what's best for everyone. Fitness is not one size fits all. Again, that's what makes Pure Barre so beautiful. Is my youngest member is I think 17, my oldest is 83. They can take class next to each other. They can modify how they need or not modify, and they're both still getting an incredibly effective and safe workout, even though it looks a little bit different for them. So yeah, I think you're right with kind of what we're seeing trending in the industry, and how people can kind of scout out and ask the tough questions or have the hard conversations.
Yeah, and it sounds like from what you've told me about your studio, it seems welcoming to a beginner as well, because
For sure.
you obviously you want to encourage folks to move their body and express themselves in a way that feels right, but some people are intimidated of the group setting. So when you can say, hey, this person's 17, this person's 73, someone might say, man, I think I could probably do that too.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be hard. And I tell people that all the time when I book them to come in for their first class. And we ask them if they have questions. We tell them how to prepare, what to wear, etc. And I almost give a disclaimer sometimes. I'm like, this is going to be the hardest thing you ever do, but like you're going to love it, hopefully, and you'll come back. It's the thing that makes Pure Barre hard is that it's so different from what we're used to as human beings when it comes to exercise. We're used to kettlebell swings, squats, running as examples of things that people just know. So when we're telling you to squeeze your muscle to do a very, very mini controlled curl of your bicep, I mean, you're like literally like flickering like that. You can't even like barely see the move, right?
Yeah.
People just aren't familiar with that type of movement. So it takes about 4 to 6 classes, I tell people, to really feel comfortable in our terminology, but it does take as little as 10 to start seeing results. So if it's something that you stick with consistently, and you ask questions to your instructor, hey, we did this, I didn't understand, or was I doing it right? That's what we're there for. So yeah, it's very beginner friendly. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I feel like I love being on the mic and teaching a class. I feel like I'm the party host. Welcome to my party. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, kind of makes me want to go check it out, to be honest, the
Yeah.
way you're talking about it. And it's nice for that person to go in and, like you said, if they're new, to say, well, I got hands-on correction, so I know that I was not feeling right, but they helped me out. I got an option for this movement that couldn't quite do because my shoulder's injured. That right there is going to make them say, you know what, I'm coming back, rather than the coach who is just a cheerleader and is like, push it, you can do it. And then they're in the back like, what's going on here?
Right, right.
You know?
And like I told you when we started this, you said you had an MRI, or I just had one, and I just shared with you my labrum is torn in two places, and I have a hip impingement. And I consulted with some people that I know, PTs, chiros, orthos, etc. And someone was like, honestly, the best thing you can do is probably take your own classes.
Yeah.
So I'm about to, in collaboration with a little bit of physical therapy, I'm about to like rehab my hip in my own studio, because I can take certain classes or move certain ways. So I just told one of my staff earlier today, I'm like, I feel like I should do my own testimony about like,
No.
like healing. Like, is that
You,
bad as the studio owner?
no, I think that would be a phenomenal idea to like track your progress and like talk about it and be open, because then someone who else is injured might be sitting on the couch and saying, "No, actually, I think I could go there and get better." I
Yeah.
think that would be huge for you.
Yeah, yeah. So I follow up with me on that one, but that's pretty
Will.
much what I'm about to do is rehab my own hip.
I like it. Now, I feel like honestly I could talk to you for forever, but I want to be respectful of your time. The last kind of like question I have is, you seem like you have a good situation going on now, with the business, with your life and everything. Where do you see the vision of Danielle? Like, I know things can evolve and change, but where do you see yourself going right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love what I do. I love the studio and the culture we've created. Again, at the end of the day, I just feel like my mission on this earth is to help people and to impact people. So I've been looking into, and I recently enrolled in like a women's health and wellness class or certification, if you will, just to think about how I can continue to help women that show up, because we are predominantly women in the studio, how I can continue to help them in addition to their fitness goals and their fitness journey. We hear a lot of women come in, and you know, you're in the women's health and wellness space. A lot of women coming in at different stages of their life talking about hormones, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopausal, and a lot of those conversations happen. So if I can continue my education to help guide them, or coach them in a different way, in addition to what they're doing in studio on their fitness journey, I'm thinking that's a direction we maybe head to, just continue to offer an experience to my members and these people that have become, friends, family, etc., to get them where they want to go and where they see themselves going. Again, I feel in my heart that my mission is to just continue to give back and continue to help people.
Yeah, adding on extra layers of support in your mission to just impact as many lives as you can. That's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Danielle, it's been seriously a pleasure getting to know you and learn a little bit more about your story. Before we jump here, how can people either get in contact with you, learn more about Pure Barre, like just
Sure.
continue the conversation?
Yeah, so people can learn more about Pure Barre by just going to purebarre.com, search for your nearest location, and pick up the phone and call them. Every studio offers a little bit something different when you're a first-time guest. So some studios offer a buy one, get one free class. Some offer your first class free. Pick up the phone, call them, ask the questions, and go try it. Grab a friend and go have some fun. If you love it, great. If it's not for you, that's also okay. You tried something new and went outside your comfort zone. So definitely go to purebarre.com. My studio specifically is the Pure Barre in Jupiter, Florida. So our Instagram is at Pure Barre Jupiter. You can find me on TikTok, which I'm not great at, but I try and post videos about Pure Barre, and then I'm a health and wellness girly, so you'll see me on there churning my own butter, making my sourdough. I try and do everything really clean and whole food. So I'm on TikTok there. I don't even know my name on TikTok. And then fun fact, Sean, I also have my own little podcast. So it's a little passion project. I try and share, similar to you, just getting different professionals in the health and wellness space to share how people can find balance in their life when we live in a world where social media is pushing so much in front of our face. So trusted professionals, experienced individuals who share stories about all different things so we can maintain a balanced life. So got a few options, but I would say people should go find their nearest Pure Barre.
Cool. And don't worry about trying to memorize all that. I will put all of what she just said in the show notes so it can be one click away for you guys. Well, Danielle, thank you again so much for sharing your story and shedding a little light on the people who were listening and just to the world in general. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean. I'm happy to be here and happy to share, and hope that this encourages people to move their body or take a risk and try something, get outside their comfort zone, or try 75 hard. You might surprise yourself.
Just might. All right, guys. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and we will catch you next week. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me on today's episode. I hope you got a ton of value from it. If we're not connected on Instagram yet, let's change that. Hit me up at Sean Calhoun _. That's SEAN Calhoun _. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think of the show, or if you got any questions about how to level up your health. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode.